This is Get Real and Heal for high-performing women executives and entrepreneurs, where we discuss all things emotional healing and the relationships with yourself, your man, and your money. I'm your host, Jamila McMallow, wife, mother, certified cognitive behavioral therapy practitioner, mindset and relationship expert with over 20 years coaching and mentoring experience. I know that when you're the one that everyone else leans on, the leader and the trailblazer, it can be difficult to let your guard down, be vulnerable, and tend to your own emotions. So I hope today's discussion will allow you a moment to experience a life-changing realization, perhaps even a transformation. So let's begin and get real and heal. So a question that I get asked quite frequently is, how can I be more feminine? How can I be more in my feminine energy? And I would say that what's so interesting about this question and this conversation is that this is only something that recently has kind of come up, and I think it's because we are kind of at the point to where we have seen how the educational system, the traditional educational system, has impacted women. I know when I was growing up, we were taught how to get jobs so we could make money. That was it, and that's essentially what boys are taught too. And there's no problem with that because we should all, as adults, be independent and responsible and able to pay our own way. However, the truth is the workplace, corporate, is a man's world. That's the truth. And anyone who wants to argue with that, you can argue with it till you're blue in the face, or you can accept it and understand how to play the game, which was my strategy. And that's what I learned very early on in school, was it's like, okay, this is how it is. This is what I have to do to win. Then I'm just going to do that, because at the end of the day, for me anyway, I didn't find that to be my source of meaning or fulfillment. I never felt like, oh, this is what defines me and who I am and why I'm successful. It was just something I had to do. And I did well in school. I checked all the boxes, did all the things, got the job, got the degree. And at the end of the day, being conditioned to essentially behave like men has served many women well, professionally, educationally, being able to excel and be in their masculine energy, which is primarily doing and making things happen. But it has left a generation of us exhausted. It has left a generation of us out of touch with how to stop doing, how to turn it off, and understanding how to relax and receive. And this is absolutely key if you want to attract a masculine man. And I know that the type of women that I work with, they are top performers, but they are in no way desiring to be in a relationship with a man who does not lovingly lead, who they can't count on, who doesn't make decisions, any of these things. That's not attractive. So even though as a top performer, you may operate in your masculine energy most of the time, I know that you have reached a time and a place in your life to where you're like, yeah, but I don't want to do this anymore. Or I don't want to have to be this way all the time. I want a man whose natural way of being is masculinity to just be who he is, so that I can be allowed to finally be who I am. We can come together and complete each other and create an amazing life together. And so the fact is because of that conditioning that we received through our education, constantly being focused on work, performing, achieving, getting great grades, making a lot of money, we have lost touch with receiving. We've lost touch with believing that simply our presence is enough to that our presence is valuable, right? Just as being present is enough. No, we've been conditioned to believe that we have to keep doing things and performing and proving ourselves in order to be worthy. Our value is tied to what we can do, to what we can produce, to what we to create, versus our value is the fact that we're there. Okay. Because you could have been sitting here by yourself, but the fact that I'm here with you and you get to be in my presence and enjoy my conversation and be the recipient of things that I might say, that has value. And that's what it means to be in your feminine energy, is to be firmly grounded and rooted in the knowing and understanding that your presence is enough. You don't have to do anything. Just the fact that you're there. And you have to be open to receiving. Because let me tell you, you may want a masculine man, but have you ever had a situation, we can think back to when you were a kid, when you had two magnets, and if you had two magnets that were the same, remember how they would, you try to push them together and they would just repel one another. They would not stick no matter what. But then you flip one of them over and boop, they would stick. That's how it is. Okay. So if you want a masculine man, but you are choosing to operate in your masculine energy most of the time, you're going to repel him. Even if he starts a relationship with you, it will not last. Because a masculine man is not going to fight with you. He's going to stop dealing with you, because what he's not going to do is deal with a woman who's trying to outman him. He's going to look at you like, okay, really? Okay, I'm done. I'm not going to play this game with you, because he doesn't feel threatened by you. He doesn't think that you're more man than he is. He thinks it's silly that you're trying to outman him. Like, am I trying to outwoman you? Why are you trying to outman me? Why are you trying to prove how much you don't need me? Okay, great. Then you don't. Well, I'm going to leave. I don't need to be here. And that may have struck a chord with you or landed with you. You maybe can think back to a relationship where you were in where you did that. And it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't intentional. You wanted so badly to be that woman that could just allow yourself to receive and be cared for, but you didn't know how. You just only knew how to stay in the driver's seat and never allow the driver and never allow another driver. Feeling this need to be in control compulsively. Now, some of this is linked back to childhood, because if you grew up in a family where your dad wasn't present, or men were unreliable, or he left your mom in a lurch because they got divorced or whatever, then you don't trust men. And that's a very powerful and important belief that you cannot ignore, because if fundamentally you do not trust men, you will always have your guard up. You will always be on edge, and you will never be able to lean into your feminine energy, because you will never trust that anyone is going to be able to protect you better than yourself. You will never believe that anybody is going to be there for you when the chips are down other than yourself. Okay? So that is a trauma response, a survival technique. It served you because it allowed you to get through childhood, it allowed you to get through school, it allowed you to do what you've done professionally. But now you're an adult and you can choose to believe something different. Now, is it as easy as just waking up tomorrow and saying, well, I'm going to trust men? No, it's not, because if you listen to any previous episodes, you also have a pattern. Because if you believe that men are not trustworthy, guess what types of men you've attracted? Oh, men who are not trustworthy, men who you can't depend on, men who lie, maybe are deceptive, or maybe are lazy and not, trying to help you, just letting you do all the work. If you've attracted those men, that's your pattern. But guess what? When you attract men like that, it causes you to continue to confirm the belief that you have, which is that you can't trust them, because you keep attracting men that you can't trust. Do you see how it's like this catch-22 circular reasoning? So all roads lead back to you shifting your beliefs by dealing with your pattern and the underlying stories, limiting beliefs, and traumas attached to that. You have to unravel that. Okay? And that is the type of work that I do with my clients, is we go to the root. We deal with the root cause, because that's where the problem actually is and where the solution lies. You change what you believe to be true about men and yourself and relationships, then you change the type of men that you attract. You change the way you behave, and problem solved. You're not dealing with men that you can't trust. You're not believing that you can't trust men. So therefore, you're not acting like you can't trust them while you're in the relationship. And guess what? Now you can stop being on edge and living in high anxiety with your guard up and never able to lean back and receive someone else's love, care, and support. All right. Now, this is, of course, a podcast episode, so I can't go super duper deep into everything because we don't have that kind of time. But my point is that that's what's behind it. And so I understand why you have not felt comfortable leaning into your feminine energy, because of the type of men that you have attracted. And what I disagree with is this rhetoric online. I will see women sometimes post negative statements to men or about men. Well, if you want a woman to lead, or you want a woman to submit, you need to be stepping up, or you need to be in your masculine. True, but guess what? If you, had different beliefs about men, about yourself and relationships, then you wouldn't even be attracting men that would cause you to have to make a silly statement like that online. Listen, all men don't need to do nothing. You just need to change the type of men that you attract. Problem solved. Let me say that again for the folks in the back of the room. All men don't need to do diddly squat. It is you that needs to change the type of men that you attract into your life. problem solved. It is the men that you do not want that have all the issues, and you trying to tell them what they need to do, and y'all arguing about this. I'm telling you, there are a ton of men who are not having these type of frivolous conversations online, because let me assure you, your husband is not in the comments. He's not. The man that is going to lovingly provide and take care of you, do all those things, is not following silly relationship conversations online. Trust and believe that. So if he's not there, what you doing there? I hope you can see my face looking at you. What you doing there? What? Did you think he was going to be? He's not there. So why are you there? Why are you engaging in frivolous debates with men who disagree with your position, who want to say, well, women need to do that? And you go, well, men need to do this. Not saying that either side doesn't have valid points, but the fundamental issue is that, yeah, you both are focusing on the wrong thing. Okay? You both are. You're arguing with someone who doesn't get it. Both sides. And that's not what you want to be expending your time and energy on. You actually want to be conversing with someone who does get it, who's done the work, and is looking for what you're looking for. That's it right there. That's it. So what are some things that you can do to kind of practice being in your feminine energy before you do this deep work, right? Because until you do the deep work, you're not really going to attract anyone to you that's going to allow you to be able to feel comfortable leaning into your feminine. Now, I'll say this. That's a general statement, because you could attract a really great guy, but if you haven't shifted what you believe to be true and possible for yourself and about men and relationships, then chances are you are going to be actively sabotaging that relationship. Unknowingly, not deliberately or intentionally, but because this man does not match what you believe to be true, your brain is going to try to create the circumstances to prove you right and to make you correct. And so you may find yourself bringing drama to the relationship, or being suspicious, or feeling like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. So there still is no shortcut around you doing the deep intentional work on yourself. Okay. It's all about you being who you are being. That's what matters, because who you are being and what you believe to be true and possible for you is what you are going to attract into your life. And the types of results that you create are going to be according to what you believe to be true. Okay. So, but what can you do just as a daily practice to allow yourself to start leaning into your feminine energy more? Well, I'll tell you, one of the smallest things that you could start doing right now is when you are around men, stop posturing. Stop posturing. Stop feeling like you're being challenged. Stop feeling like, because you're trying to outman men, and they don't look at you and go, oh, wow. They look at you and go, okay, little mouse, whatever. That's what they say to themselves. They're not threatened by you. They're not intimidated by you. This idea or this concept that men are intimidated by you, they're not. They just don't like you. And what they don't like about you is that you disrespect them by trying to emasculate them to make yourself feel superior, because some part of you feels like that's what you're supposed to do. And that's what you have to do because you've been conditioned to behave like a man in the workplace. And that's what they do to each other. But they are not at all amused when it comes from a woman. They expect that from another man. That's how they deal with each other. Women don't deal with each other that way. Not women who have healthy relationships with other women. That's not how we interact and deal with each other. We talk about our feelings. We're concerned about how what we say impacts other people. We are picking up on things that aren't being said, body language, all those things. We deal with each other differently because we're designed and created differently. So once you accept the fact that you're not a man and you do not have to behave like one to get what you want, not even at work, you will start making life a lot easier on yourself. So number one, stop posturing. Okay? Just stop. You can express your opinion. You can express what it is that you have to say without feeling like you have to move into, like you have to challenge him, or let me get in my masculine and we'll let me see if I can outman you. No, because what you have not been conditioned or taught to believe and understand is that your femininity has power. Your feminine energy is extremely powerful, and you will get men to go along with what you have to say 99% of the time more when you are coming from that energy than when you are coming from, let me challenge you and talk to you any old kind of way and get you to, let's have this showdown or whatever. That's not going to work. They may go along with it because they have to, or because they feel some sort of obligation, but they won't like you. And liking you is maybe not important, but it is if you're in the workplace and you're trying to build teams and you're trying to build an environment where we're all focused on reaching the primary goal. How men do things, that may not matter to them, but it does matter to you. You might tell yourself, well, I don't care if they don't like me, but you do. Because you're talking about your girlfriend. When you go out with her after for drinks, you're talking about all these people at work and how they get on your nerves and all these things that they're saying and doing behind your back and how you see them and all this and that. And it's because it does matter to you. You do care. And it's okay that you care. So what? And it doesn't mean that you have to be a people pleaser or placate anybody. It just means that when you change how you move, you can affect how other people will react to you, how other people will receive you. And so when you allow yourself to lean more into your feminine energy, which is receiving, which is nurturing, which is open, which is caring and loving, not saying that, because listen, we ain't no family at work. No, we're not, because families can be dysfunctional. So we're not a family at work. It's still a professional environment. But when you are someone that people are naturally drawn to, which is what feminine energy is, it attracts, it draws to you. Okay. Because of who you are being, because you're open to receiving. You're not trying to make it happen. You're just allowing it to. It's coming to you. You already know that. So that's number one, stop posturing. Number two, when you're out in public and you're approaching a door and you notice that there's a guy out of the corner of your eye, you can see that there's also a man approaching, slow your pace. Slow down. Okay, I am never trying to outrun a man to a doorknob. I ain't trying to touch an old nasty COVID doorknob with all them germs. Slow your pace. Let him get to the door first and allow him to open it for you. Allow him to open it for you, because I believe, this is my belief, and this is why my interactions with men are the way they are, because I believe that all men have an internal gentleman. And when we as women are in our feminine energy and feminine power, it brings out their inner gentleman. It is not sexual. It is how they react when they are in the presence of a lady. When there's a lady in the room, they tuck in their shirts, they stand up straighter, they stop cussing, they change what they're talking about, they get quiet because they know a lady has entered the room. And so is that how men react when you walk in? Because they don't want to offend you. They don't want to say something that might hurt her ears or her feelings. And that's not saying that you're weak or delicate or all these things. See, that's that other stuff coming out. That's that conditioning. Stick that in the trash, because it ain't getting you nowhere. That's not what I'm saying. Your feminine energy has power. Being a lady has power. Embrace the power of your womanhood, of being a lady, of being in your feminine energy. You are never going to outman a man. You will never get what you ultimately want by behaving like they do. Not if you want one, because he doesn't want one. He wants a woman. He wants a feminine woman, someone who is the opposite of what he is, whose way of being is the opposite of his way of being. He deals with men all day, all that masculine energy and tough and posturing. He wants to come home to somebody that, yes, let's use this term, that is soft, that is calming, that is loving, that is nurturing, not a mother. See, this is where y'all get it twisted. Listening to this garbage online. It's not what he's looking for. He's looking for the opposite, because opposites attract. Just like you are not looking for a man who's going to sit there and cry and gossip with you, not saying that that's what women do, but we do when we get with our friends. That's what we do. But you do want a man that's going to listen to you, but you also want him to be strong enough for you to lean on, to where you don't feel like you have to hold back because, oh my gosh, I'm going to hurt his feelings and then he's going to start crying and he's going to get upset. And I just, where you feel like you're managing his feelings. No. So I'm just saying that to say that you both want what the other has, because it completes you. It's the opposite. It's like, okay, now we're a complete package. We're together and now we have all sides. All right. So allow them to get the door for you. I went to an event and there was also another event going on at the same time. And it was a lot of older, wealthy couples that were there, and they were getting in and off the elevator. And when I was leaving my event, I got on the elevator and there were two couples on the elevator who were arriving, and they got off, and they were married couples. And the husband, who was the last one to get off, paused and reached his hand back and held the elevator open for me to get on. See, I waited for them to get off, which is proper elevator etiquette. But he waited to allow me to get on. He held that elevator door for me. That's his gentlemanly nature. See, his wife would have been put off had he not done that, because she's got a man who is chivalrous, who shows honor and respect to women just because that's the type of man he is. It's not sexual. And I said, oh, thank you. And I got on the elevator. Okay. I went to a networking event, and there was a guy got on the elevator and was like, oh, are you going to the network event? Yeah. And we knew what floor we were going to. So once I confirmed that we were going to the same place, I just stood there, and he said, oh, and he pushed the button for the elevator. I said, oh, thank you. Yeah. Get in the habit of saying thank you and stop being in a rush. Lean back and allow men to be gentlemen. The reason why men are not gentlemanly towards you is because you don't allow them the time to do it. It's not automatic for many men, especially men these days, because of how much women don't allow them to do it. And for some men, they even will need, when they start dating a woman, she kind of has to tell them what her expectation is, because he doesn't know. He may have dated women who were like, you don't have to get the door for me, and you don't have to do those things, which is totally crazy, but whatever, to each his own. Because that's essentially her trying to emasculate him and prevent him from being who he is, which is a protector and a provider and a desire to take care of her and to make sure she's comfortable and happy. That's what they want to do. So are you allowing men to do that? So in their gentlemanly nature, you can bring that out simply by allowing them to help you. It's not sexual. Now, yes. Am I talking about some creepy, weird guy that you're running into, or that you're getting that vibe like, this ain't right? No, by all means, trust your instincts. But there are a lot of decent, good men out there who have an innate gentlemanly nature, who are happy to always help a woman in need. It's just, it's how they're made. And if you're not allowing yourself to experience that goodness, then you also are limiting yourself in what it is that you believe about men. If you have negative beliefs about men, then you're not even allowing the strangers out there that are good to even show you their goodness in some platonic way. I'll give you another example. I was at the store and I was loading up a heavy item, and I saw out of the corner of my eye, I could see a man who was walking into the store, but I could see he looked like he was probably about in his 50s. He looked like he paused. I could tell he was slowing down to make sure I was going to be able to get it into my trunk. And once he saw that I got it in, he kept going and proceeded on into the store. But I could tell that he was pausing, because in his mind, he's like, okay, if she can't do this, I'm going to help her. It was automatic. His brain went, oop, she's going to drop that. Let me help her. He was going to jump in. And so but like I said, that is my belief. I believe with every fiber of my being and in absolute certainty that all men have an innate gentlemanly nature. And I allow them to be gentlemen towards me. And it is not sexual. And so that is how my interactions with men are. When I'm out in public, I'm not reaching for a doorknob. And when I'm out with men, whether it was in a professional setting or whatever, I'm not reaching for the bill either. I've never been out for a business lunch, dinner, whatever, and ever had any man present say, okay, let's split up the bill. No, one of them will say, I got it. Oh, thank you. So get in the habit of saying thank you. All right. So your feminine energy is powerful. You are powerful. It has to do with your ability to receive. It has to do with your ability to allow things to come to you instead of you feeling like you have to prove you're worthy of it or doing to make it happen. You have to understand that your presence, simply the fact that you are there, is enough. Your presence has value. Okay? So slow down. Allow men to do gentlemanly things for you. Lean back. Don't try to posture and outmen man. There are other ways of getting your point and message across. Your femininity is powerful, more powerful than, because it's yours. They don't have it. So whereas they're wielding their masculinity because it's all they know, you have something they don't have. That's your secret weapon. And your femininity, again, is not sexual. That's not what I'm talking about. It's not. It is your ability to move people by your presence. And so what is your presence moving men to do? How are they reacting to you, interacting with you, treating you? Okay? So again, just to wrap it up, stop posturing. Use your feminine power. at work. Number 2, slow down. Allow men to do gentlemanly things for you. Okay? And 3, start embodying the belief that being a woman does not mean being weak. Okay? Understand that your feminine energy is just that. It's just the opposite of masculinity. And you have both. We all do, because we go in and out of them as needed. But if you continue to remain predominantly in your masculine energy, you are going to just continue to get more and more tired. And you are going to repel what you really want, which is a masculine man. So I hope that this was a very valuable conversation to wrap up season 2 of Get Real and Heal. Thank you so much for being with me through season 1 and through season 2. And I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. Reach out to me on social media, comment or contact me on CoachJamila.com. And yes, I'll see you soon. Visit CoachJamila.com, where you'll find the links to connect with me on social media and more information on my private coaching for high-performing women.